You think you're buying beef? Fresh, safe, trustworthy. But what if the truth behind that glossy plastic wrap is far more dangerous than you imagined? In 2025, with meat prices soaring and supply chains stretched thin, some of the biggest grocery chains in America are cutting corners and putting your health at risk. According to the USDA, nearly 1 in 4 grocery stores has failed at least one food safety inspection in the past year. And when it comes to beef, the stakes couldn't be higher. From repackaged spoiled meat to mislabeled cuts and hidden bacteria, the danger is already on your dinner plate. Can you trust what's behind the label? Is that fresh ground beef actually fresh or just frozen, defrosted, and disguised? Could you be feeding your family contaminated meat without knowing it? This is the Downturn Report, where the truth gets personal. And today, we reveal 7 grocery chains that may be serving up more risk than beef. You'll want to see this before your next grocery trip, because what you don't know can hurt you. Number 1. Safeway. You may recognize the Safeway logo from your neighborhood shopping center, and for you it's about clean aisles, familiar prices, and what seems to be a dependable place to buy groceries. But don't let that comforting exterior fool you. Behind the polished shelves and smiling staff lies a disturbing history that far too many loyal customers are completely unaware of. Safeway has developed a dangerous pattern when it comes to beef safety, and that pattern is not marked by isolated mistakes, but by repeated and deeply troubling failures. Over the past several years, Safeway has been connected to a series of high-risk beef recalls. These weren't minor slip-ups. Some of these recalls involved serious bacterial threats like E. coli, an organism that can cause devastating illness and even death, especially for older adults or those with weaker immune systems. In other cases, the issue wasn't bacteria but mislabeling, which means products that failed to mention key allergens, and it can lead to a life-threatening oversight for customers with food sensitivities. And worse yet, multiple recalls were issued after foreign materials such as sharp plastic or even bits of metal were found inside packaged beef. But the real scandal isn't just what ended up in the beef, but how Safeway responded once these threats were discovered. Instead of alerting the public through obvious signage or store-wide announcements, Safeway has often chosen to remain silent, many times. The only place they post recall information is buried deep within their website, keeping it far from the eyes of average shoppers. No loudspeaker announcements, no warning emails or text alerts, no bright posters by the meat counter. This quiet handling has consequences. According to one recent study, fewer than 15% of Safeway shoppers were even aware that a recall was active while they were shopping. That means more than 85% of customers, people like you, your spouse, or your aging parents, were buying potentially contaminated beef without ever knowing it. And let's face it, older shoppers, especially those who aren't glued to the internet or social media, are most at risk. These are the very customers who depend on stores like Safeway to act as their first line of defense. But that trust, it's not being honored. Safeway might technically comply with federal food safety laws, but there's a vast difference between doing the bare minimum and doing what's right. Food safety is not just about ticking boxes, it's about taking real steps to protect people. When a store fails to act quickly or to clearly communicate urgent dangers, it's not just failing at customer service, but also putting lives at risk. Insiders have come forward to reveal that even internally, the recall process is slow and disorganized. Some store employees don't receive recall instructions for days after federal agencies have sounded the alarm. And during that gap, recalled beef stays on shelves, it's bought, it's eaten, and the consequences are left for families to face alone. This culture of secrecy is more than just a corporate oversight to the point it feels like a betrayal. When customers learn that the beef they trusted may have been tainted, mislabeled, or physically dangerous, they begin to question everything. If Safeway won't speak up about something as serious as a meat recall, what else are they willing to hide? The truth is, a quiet recall is not a safe recall. It's a hidden risk, and for older Americans, those risks can't be taken lightly. You deserve more than legal compliance. You deserve action. You deserve honesty and safety. And right now, Safeway is failing to provide any of those. This is not just about beef, but a whole grocery chain that would rather avoid bad press than protect the people who keep it in business. That silence may be convenient for Safeway, but it's potentially deadly for you. Number 2, Aldi. Aldi's reputation has soared in recent years as the go-to store for budget-conscious shoppers, with smaller footprints, no-frills aisles, and a bring-your-own-bag culture. It promises savings without the fluff, but when it comes to beef, the kind you're feeding your family, grilling at summer cookouts, or freezing for winter meals. Those cost-cutting measures come with unsettling consequences. While many Americans see Aldi as a reliable money saver, what they may not realize is that those savings come at a steep risk to quality, freshness, and safety. Unlike traditional grocery chains that work with dozens of meat suppliers nationwide, Aldi keeps its partnerships narrow, just around 7 core suppliers serving the entire country. This limited network helps Aldi negotiate prices and streamline operations, but it also means less oversight. When there are only a handful of places providing your beef, you lose the safety net of varied sourcing. One failure upstream, such as a shipment gone wrong, a mishandled lot, it can ripple through hundreds of stores. There's simply not enough backup to correct quality issues in time. And when it's beef we're talking about, that's not a small gamble. Temperature control inside Aldi stores is another point of concern. Researchers monitoring beef displays in multiple Aldi locations found temperature swings as high as 12 degrees Fahrenheit within a single day. According to food safety experts, that's far outside the safe zone. Even small temperature fluctuations can cause bacteria like Salmonella or E. coli to multiply quickly. A package of beef may look fine on the outside. You see it's pink, fresh, and clean, but it can be riddled with dangerous pathogens inside. Then there's the issue of frozen and thawed beef being passed off as fresh. Many stores do this within certain limits, but Aldi reportedly cycles some of its meat through multiple freeze-thaw rounds. Each cycle degrades the quality, breaking down texture, altering flavor, and increasing the risk of contamination. Taste tests across various regions consistently rank Aldi beef and ground meat among the worst. Judges often describe the flavor as flat or non-existent, with a mushy consistency that hardly resembles real beef. Even the packaging is a concern. Aldi uses ultra-thin plastic film that tears easily and lacks the protective barrier of more robust packaging used by higher-end competitors. Laboratory tests reveal that Aldi's plastic is highly permeable, allowing air, moisture, and bacteria to sneak in far more easily. The result, beef that spoils faster, harbors more bacteria, and puts your household at risk. The problems don't stop at the product level. They extend to the people behind the counter. Aldi's employee turnover rate hovers around 60% annually, which means stores are constantly onboarding new, often inexperienced workers. In a fast-paced environment focused on efficiency, training often gets rushed. New hires may not fully understand how to check temperatures, rotate stock, or spot early signs of spoilage. That's not just an operational weakness, but a direct food safety hazard. Even basic things like chicken sizing show the cracks. Shoppers report wildly inconsistent breast sizes in the same pack, making it almost impossible to cook evenly. One side ends up dry and rubbery, while the other stays undercooked, and it also can be a potentially dangerous situation for anyone, especially seniors or those with weaker immune systems. Taken together, these issues reveal a troubling pattern. Aldi's model relies on aggressive cost-cutting, fewer suppliers, cheaper packaging, looser temperature control, and undertrained staff. While that keeps prices low, it pushes beef quality and your safety into a danger zone. For those trying to stretch a dollar, Aldi might seem like a smart choice. But the next time you reach for that discount pack of ground beef or steak, ask yourself, what was compromised to put that low price tag there? Because at Aldi, the savings come with strings attached, and when it's meat on your dinner plate, those strings could put more than your budget at risk. Number 3, Walmart. Walmart may be known for low prices and one-stop shopping convenience, but when it comes to beef, the kind you bring home expecting it to be safe, fresh, and nourishing, the picture is far more troubling than most shoppers realize. This isn't just a grocery store, it's the largest retail giant in the United States, with thousands of locations stretching from coast to coast. That kind of scale gives Walmart unmatched influence over America's food supply chain. But with that influence comes responsibility, and in the case of beef, Walmart's track record shows alarming cracks. Let's begin with what Consumer Reports uncovered. In a detailed investigation back in the year 2018, Walmart's store brand chicken, not even the beef, was already flagged for dangerously high levels of bacteria. The kind of contamination they found wasn't mild or borderline. The samples showed such significant bacterial presence that food safety experts warned people not to handle the meat without washing their hands twice. While the study was focused on chicken, the findings sparked widespread concern over how Walmart manages and processes all its meats, especially beef. which is even more susceptible to E. coli contamination. Dig deeper, and it becomes clear why the problem runs so deep. Walmart's meat supply chain is built for scale and speed to keep their prices as low as possible. Walmart contracts with massive meat suppliers who often cut corners to meet demand. These industrial farms overcrowd animals, reduce sanitation standards, and rush through slaughter and packaging. What ends up on your tray may look fine on the outside, but behind it is a production system that leaves very little room for safety, quality control, or ethical farming practices. And that's not just an ethical problem, but a whole food safety disaster waiting to happen. Then there's the temperature issue. Fresh beef should be stored at or below 40 degrees Fahrenheit, but spot checks in various Walmart stores have revealed meat displays running as warm as 45 to 50 degrees. That temperature range is dangerous. It's a breeding ground for harmful bacteria, where even fresh beef can turn into a health hazard before it ever reaches your kitchen. And these aren't one-off incidents. Temperature mismanagement at Walmart stores has been reported time and time again. Packaging is another recurring flaw. Walmart's beef often comes wrapped in thin plastic film or placed in flimsy containers that leak or tear easily. A customer survey conducted in the year 2022 showed Walmart ranking at the bottom for meat packaging quality among major grocery chains. Poor packaging allows air and bacteria to infiltrate the product, shortening shelf life and raising the risk of contamination significantly. The store's very layout compounds the problem. Walmart's size means that many customers spend long stretches browsing through aisles while their meat sits unrefrigerated in a cart. On hot days, beef can sit out for 20 minutes or more before being checked out and driven home, long enough for bacterial growth to escalate. Smaller stores with faster trips don't carry this same risk. Walmart, by contrast, practically builds in time for spoilage. When taste tests are conducted across grocery chains, Walmart consistently performs near the bottom. Consumers describe its beef as tough, flavorless, or rubbery, and while the low prices may seem appealing, you have to ask, what corners were cut to bring that steak down to the price of a fast food burger? The answer is often unsettling. More than anything, it's not just about poor flavor or wasted money. It's the very real risk of foodborne illness, like nausea, cramps, vomiting, or worse. Vulnerable groups like children, seniors, and those with weakened immune systems face the gravest danger. Buying beef that spoils quickly, tastes off, or harbors invisible bacteria isn't just a bad deal, but a whole gamble with your family's health. Plenty of Walmart shoppers have already learned this the hard way. Many report buying meat that looked fine in the store, only to find it spoiled or sour smelling by dinner time. That's not just frustrating, but a waste of money, time, and food. In the end, Walmart may be too big to fail, but when it comes to beef, it's also too big to safely manage. Number 4, Whole Foods. Whole Foods has carved out a reputation as the gold standard for ethical, high-quality groceries. Its spotless aisles, elegant signage, and soft lighting give off the feeling that everything you see, especially the meat, is of premium quality. And when you glance at the price tag, it certainly ought to be. Beef at Whole Foods can cost 60 to 90% more than what you'd pay at a regular supermarket. But here's where things take a troubling turn for all that money. You're not always getting what you think you are. Behind the glass meat counter and beneath the upscale packaging lies a story of misleading practices and compromised trust. In multiple investigations, Whole Foods was caught mislabeling the weight of meat products. This wasn't a rounding error, it was a serious issue that cost customers up to $4 extra per purchase. In New York alone, Whole Foods was fined more than $800,000 for deceptive labeling practices. That's not just a clerical mistake. That's a system that quietly extracts more money from unsuspecting shoppers under the illusion of premium quality. But the issue doesn't stop at weight. According to former employees, some Whole Foods managers routinely swapped labels when supply ran low. For example, when grass-fed or organic beef sold out, instead of telling customers the premium options were unavailable, store managers would simply slap premium labels on standard meat. The price stayed high. The label said organic, but what you got was everyday beef in disguise. That's not just dishonest, it's a direct betrayal of the very values Whole Foods markets itself on. Even the promise of local sourcing doesn't always hold up under scrutiny. Whole Foods claims its meat is locally sourced, but their definition of local can stretch as far as 400 miles away. To the average shopper, that's not local, it's another state. Meat that's traveled that far loses some of the freshness and sustainability benefits that the label promises. Shoppers are led to believe they're supporting nearby farms and reducing environmental impact, when in reality, they may be buying meat shipped across entire regions. Sanitation and temperature standards, key pillars of food safety, have also been a recurring issue. In California, nearly 40% of inspections at Whole Foods meat departments found cleanliness or temperature violations. For a store that charges such a premium, that number is unacceptable. Improper temperature control can allow harmful bacteria to thrive, making beef that looks beautiful on the outside dangerous by the time it reaches your kitchen. And then there's the taste. Blind taste tests conducted across various markets consistently show Whole Foods beef landing in the middle of the pack or lower. Testers frequently describe the steaks and ground beef as bland or unimpressive, despite the elegant packaging and the steep price. In some tests, even the organic chicken at Whole Foods scored lower than standard chicken from regular grocery chains. The assumption that higher price equals higher quality simply doesn't hold up. This is what's known as the health halo effect. When people walk into a Whole Foods, surrounded by natural colors, wooden displays, and words like sustainable and organic, they feel like they're making the healthiest, most responsible choice. But that emotional reassurance often masks what's really going on. Shoppers leave feeling confident, but they may have overpaid for a product that's mislabeled, mishandled, or mediocre in quality. All of this paints a difficult economic picture. You're paying nearly twice as much for beef at Whole Foods, expecting excellence, but what you often get is something far less. Misleading weight labels, swapped product descriptions, beef that's traveled hundreds of miles, safety standards that don't match the price, and taste that doesn't justify the cost. For older shoppers, many of whom are living on fixed incomes, this isn't just disappointing, it's wasteful. Because at the end of the day, you're not just buying beef, you're buying into a promise. And when that promise is broken, you're left with a lighter wallet and a lot of questions. Number 5, Dollar General. Dollar General is a familiar sight in small towns and rural communities across America, known for its convenience, quick service, and deeply discounted prices. It's become a staple for shoppers trying to stretch their budgets. But if you've been buying beef at Dollar General, there's a disturbing truth you need to know. Behind the low prices and easy access lies a mountain of food safety concerns, some of the worst in the entire country, and beef from these stores could be putting your health in serious danger. A recent report from the United States Department of Agriculture should alarm anyone who shops at Dollar General for meat. According to the USDA, more than 75% of Dollar General stores that were inspected failed to meet even the most basic standards for safe food storage. That means over 3 out of every 4 stores cannot consistently keep meat at safe, refrigerated temperatures. This isn't a one-off issue, it's a widespread pattern. And when it comes to beef, improper storage is a direct highway to bacterial contamination, illness, and even hospitalization. Beef needs to be kept cold below 40 degrees Fahrenheit to prevent dangerous bacteria like E. coli and Salmonella from multiplying. But Dollar General stores are notorious for malfunctioning freezers and refrigerators. And worse, when this equipment breaks, it often takes weeks or even months to fix. While other stores prioritize immediate repair to protect their food supply, Dollar General's response is slow, leaving beef to sit in unsafe temperatures for extended periods. That's not just unacceptable, it's reckless. These risks are made even worse by the lack of trained staff. In many Dollar General locations, the entire store may be run by just 1 or 2 employees. These workers are expected to handle all tasks, including monitoring meat storage, checking temperatures, and managing safety protocols. But with limited training, most of them don't even know how to identify spoiled meat, properly log temperature data, or respond to breakdowns. When temperatures rise or equipment fails, the delay in action means bad beef stays on the shelf waiting for an unsuspecting customer to take it home. The supply chain behind Dollar General's beef adds another layer of danger. Unlike established grocery chains that carefully vet their suppliers, Dollar General often relies on opportunity buys discounted meat that other stores have rejected. These cuts may be near expiration, poorly handled, or sourced from suppliers with questionable food safety records. In some cases, the beef has already passed through several middlemen before it even reaches Dollar General, making it nearly impossible to trace its origin or freshness. That's a terrifying thought when you realize you might be feeding that meat to your family. Packaging isn't much better. Lab tests show that Dollar General's beef is often wrapped in thin, flimsy plastic that tears easily. Scientists measure something called micropermeability, the ability of air, moisture, and bacteria to pass through packaging. Dollar General's meat ranked worst among national stores, meaning its packaging offers almost no real protection from contamination. Once bacteria enters, spoilage accelerates. And what looked like a safe cut of beef on the shelf could turn dangerous before dinner. Even the layout of Dollar General stores makes things worse. Freezers and fridges are often located near doorways, heating vents, or windows, where the temperature constantly fluctuates. Every time a customer opens the door or sunlight streams in, it stresses the refrigeration units. That cycle of warming and cooling provides the perfect breeding ground for bacteria and a nightmare scenario for food safety. And here's the final insult: you're not even saving that much money. Despite the illusion of low prices, the difference in cost between Dollar General's beef and that of a regular grocery store is often minimal. So for just a few cents in savings, you're putting yourself at risk of foodborne illness, wasting money on meat that spoils prematurely, and sacrificing quality for convenience. It's a trade-off that simply isn't worth it. Buying beef from Dollar General isn't just a gamble, it's a stacked deck. Unsafe sourcing, improper storage, poor packaging, and undertrained staff all add up to a dangerous reality. You may think it's a smart, thrifty choice, but the real cost comes later when the meat spoils early, makes someone sick, or simply ruins your meal. And what's coming up next might shock you even more, because it's not just the budget stores that are failing shoppers. Number 6. Trader Joe's. Trader Joe's has long been known for its cheerful atmosphere and loyal customer base. But in 2025, many shoppers are learning the hard way that its fresh meat selection is anything but comforting. Despite the friendly staff and playful branding, Trader Joe's has come under fire for serious problems with meat transparency, freshness, and safety. The most glaring issue is the complete lack of supplier information. While other chains tell you where your meat comes from, Trader Joe's hides behind private labels like Trader Joe's or Trader Giotto's. That might sound quirky, but for meat, it's a red flag. Shoppers have no way to know who raised the animals or whether safe farming practices were followed. Customer complaints have surged. Reports of spoiled, boneless chicken breasts are common find at purchase, rotten by the next day. Some say their meat smelled sour straight out of the package. Others found ground beef that was slimy or leaking. These aren't rare cases, they're part of a pattern that points to deeper handling issues. And then there's the problem of open-air refrigeration. Unlike traditional enclosed coolers, Trader Joe's often stores meat in open units. In one 2024 thermal study, temperature swings reached up to 9 degrees in a single case. For meat, that's dangerous. Bacteria thrive under unstable conditions, and even minor fluctuations can accelerate spoilage. Pre-marinated meats are no safer. Many customers report rubbery textures, bad odors, and tough cuts hidden under heavy sauces used more to mask problems than enhance flavor, while some frozen items do better. The inconsistency in the fresh meat section is impossible to ignore. For older shoppers on fixed incomes, risking spoiled beef or chicken isn't just frustrating, it's a health hazard. Trader Joe's might still sell charm, but when it comes to fresh meat, the trust is wearing thin. Number 7. Target. Target may feel like a well-designed dream: clean floors, beautiful displays, and curated aisles that make shopping feel like a lifestyle. But behind all that polish lies a risk most shoppers never see until it's too late. In 2025, Target's meat department, especially its chicken, has become a quiet liability. The store may look spotless, but its food safety practices tell another story. Unlike traditional grocery stores built for perishables, Target started as a department store. When groceries were added, they skipped one crucial element: cold chain infrastructure. Without proper refrigeration from supplier to shelf, the meat is already at a disadvantage before it even arrives. That means your dinner might be starting its journey halfway to spoiled. Target's private label, Good and Gather, looks trustworthy, but many chicken products under that name, marinated or plain, come from the same suppliers used by low-cost chains. The only real difference is packaging. Even worse, labels boasting no added hormones are misleading by law. Hormones aren't allowed in chicken at all, so that extra assurance, it's empty marketing. Handling is another major concern. At most stores, trained meat staff manage perishable goods. At Target, general employees handle everything. One day they're stocking beauty products, the next they're arranging raw poultry without training. Small mistakes in storage can lead to major health risks, especially with chicken, which is highly sensitive to temperature. Pre-marinated chicken packs are especially deceptive. Garlic and herb sauces can mask signs of spoilage like odor or discoloration, and Target's mixed-use coolers used for fruit. Cheese and meat often run warmer than recommended. Studies have found chicken sitting above safe temperature zones, creating perfect conditions for bacteria to grow. What's worse, chicken labeled as fresh might have been frozen, thawed, and relabeled without warning. That hidden timeline makes every package a gamble. At Target, the store may look safe, but your dinner might not be. Thanks for watching. If you found this helpful, please like, share, and subscribe for more eye-opening content. Before you go, ask yourself, how many times have you trusted a label without knowing the truth behind it? Could your next grocery trip be putting your health or your family's safety at risk? Don't forget to click the next video popping up on your screen. You won't want to miss it.